Hold on, before we start, I just want to make sure the camera angle on this thing is up and running. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun stream today. Have fun with this thing. Hold on. Let me where are we here? Bro, I am not a tech person at all. Bro. Why does it keep sending me here? Whatever. You know what? We'll just do it through here. We'll do it through here. Cool. All right, so far this angle doesn't look too bad. Okay, we should be good to start. See, is there anyone in the chat so far? I think it's just me right now, which is completely fine. Cool, everything looks good. Yeah, I wanted to talk about Black history. I got a lot of opinions when it comes to Black history. I was on Black time today, Black History Month. We're running on a little bit of Black time, but we will get this show started. We're gonna wait for some people to join. Okay, no, we're just gonna get started with the topic. So, I think Black History, I don't understand Black History Month, right? I'm gonna go into, I'm just gonna pull up my notes real quick here, because I want to make sure I touch on everything I wanted to talk about in this live, right? Hold on. I hate technology, bro. Why can't I have two things up at the same time? Okay, cool. So, Black History Month, I don't really understand Black History Month, right? I don't really understand, since I was a kid, they've always talked about Black History Month and how it's about, they teach about slavery, they teach about, white privilege, they teach about, back in the day when we were locked up, when we were like slaves, they teach us about, the injustice, and the time of Martin Luther King, you hear about Rosa Parks, you hear about all this stuff, all the negative parts about Black history, right? And growing up, I find that that's all you've been taught about your history, is that you were once a slave, that you didn't have freedom at one point, that, life was hard, and, it wasn't that long ago, right? And, you might even have your parents, people older than you will try and tell you, like, oh, you have less of an opportunity because of your skin color, because you're Black, right? That's usually the narrative that is pushed. I'm starting to see that the tide is changing a little bit, though. People are starting to become more aware that Black history is more than just like slavery, segregation, and all that type of stuff. People are becoming a little bit more aware. They're starting to do more research. I'm starting to see a slow shift in the culture around Black History Month. But from my whole life experience, I feel like Black History Month has become like one big pity party where everybody just wants to relive like slavery. They really want to relive that old way of life. They want to, remember the slavery, remember the bad things about Black history. They always want to focus on the negatives, right? And then, like I said again, like I noticed that the tide is changing a little. People are starting to wake up a little bit more, and they're starting to see, like, Black history is more than just slavery, right? But for like my whole life, I always saw it as like, it always seemed like a pity party to me. Everybody wants to feel sorry for themselves. Oh, because I'm Black, I have less of an opportunity. Remember back in the day when you were segregated? Remember when you were discriminated against? Remember you didn't have much of an opportunity like everybody else? This, that, the third, right? And growing up, it actually becomes a little discouraging, and it creates kind of like this victim mentality where you feel like, you're a victim. You feel like you have less of an opportunity than everybody else. And don't get me wrong, like your ancestors were victims, but you yourself, you're not a victim, right? Like right now is probably one of the best times to be Black, right? Because now we actually have opportunities, whether you believe it or not. There's like, I would even argue that because of like there's different things like affirmative action going on, like jobs have to hire, like diversity requirements. I would even argue that there's even more opportunity, right? And with AI and technology age, like you can literally do almost anything you want with your life, right? But yeah, the point I was trying to make with because I did a whole podcast on this last year, and my whole thing is like, I felt like Black History Month for the longest time has been this huge pity party. But I'm starting to see the culture is changing. People are starting to understand that there's more to Black history than just slavery. People are starting to realize that, which is a good thing, right? And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with learning about the negative parts of Black history, because if you don't want to repeat history, obviously you have to, study it so you make sure that you don't repeat it. But I also think we got 3 people watching now. If you're watching, leave a W in the chat. Let me know who you are. If you're watching, leave a little comment down below. If you have any questions about what I'm saying so far, if you have any disagreements, let me know. I'm open to it. But yeah, man, like I was saying, like there's been like a lot of talk about, Black History Month and how, slavery and all this type of stuff. But I feel like it's bigger than just slavery. It's more than that, right? And we should focus on the positives of Black history, right? And don't get me wrong, like it's good to, like I said before, it's good to focus on the negatives about Black History Month, right? But it's also good to focus on the positives, right? You have to see Black history as a whole, not just for the negatives, but you have to see the negatives and the positives. Because it's good to focus on the negatives so you don't repeat history, right? So that we can learn from mistakes, but it's also good to focus on the positives of Black history, like the history before slavery, and learn about important Black things, because that's gonna lead to a more positive self-concept, right? And that brings me to my next point. Like I read a book recently called As a Man Thinketh, right? And As a Man Thinketh, it talks about, as a man thinketh, that's who he will be, right? So if you think of yourself, like imagine like, you're being taught Black History Month, it's all about slavery, all about segregation, all about the negatives, right? You're gonna start to believe about yourself that, oh, like maybe I am a victim, maybe I am maybe I have less of an opportunity. You're gonna feel lesser of yourself, right? And how you think about yourself will affect who you are and who you become and how you act in real time, right? So that's why it's important to study Black history and look at the history before slavery, before the Europeans came and colonized, right? Like if you look at who Mansa Musa was the richest guy to ever live. He's richer than Jeff Bezos, right? And I never learned about that until like 4 or 3 years ago. I learned about that after high school, right? In high school, I just learned about Scramble for Africa and how they, colonized and mismatched everybody, right? And I feel like it's definitely important to learn about, because it gives you that confidence to be like, you know what? Like, my ancestors weren't just slaves, right? They weren't just segregated against. They actually were great men and women, right? They actually were doing things, right? And that shapes a more positive self-belief, right? I think that's really important. I think it's really important to to acknowledge that about Black history, like acknowledge like the positives, right? Not just focus on just the negatives, because it just makes you feel like you'll feel a lot more confident about yourself. You'll feel a lot more better about yourself, right? It's about the story you're telling yourself as a Black person, right? you know, and I want to jump into a little bit about victim mentality, right? Because I feel like a lot of black people, we suffer from a victim mentality. We start to make excuses for ourselves for why we're not successful, why um, why we're at a disadvantage. We try to say we're at a disadvantage and all this type of stuff. But I think if you can walk, talk, breathe, think, hear, smell, you can do literally almost anything you want with your life, right? Because a lot of times they'll tell you, oh, because you're black, you're at a disadvantage. You know, racism and all this stuff. The system's against us. The world's against me, right? And a lot of black people will feel like, okay, we're just gonna opt out of the race because there is no point, right? And I feel like this is a very toxic way of thinking because like it just leads to people like not wanting to try. They just want to opt out of the race. They feel like it's hopeless, right? But I'm here to tell you, like, you do have an opportunity in this world to do whatever you want in your life, right? Nothing is holding you back. Right now is probably one of the best times to be black. Literally, one of the best times to be black right now. We have so much information at our fingertips, right? We have things like ChatGPT, we have AI, right? You can start an online business if you want to. You can start drop shipping if you want to. You can start a YouTube channel. You can build a personal brand if you want to. You know what I mean? You can go to university if you want to study a degree that actually might get you somewhere. Like, you can go into a trade. You can do so many things at your disposal. It's just the choices that you have, right? It's crazy because I noticed this a lot in the United States. There's a lot more victim mentality in the United States, right? And people will kind of try and say like, oh, it's not their fault because, they don't really know where they're from because of the whole colonization. Like, a lot of people from the States don't know where they're from. They have kind of like a loss of identity, right? And don't get me wrong, like, it's not your fault that you grew up in a shitty environment, and they'll even say the what's the one I'm trying to say? They even say the argument that war on drugs, back in the 80s when they put drugs into like black neighborhoods and stuff like that, like, sorry, I just burped it, but like, it's not your fault for where you were born and your environment you grew up in. Of course, there were some things that happened in the black community that like shapes your environment, but you are fully responsible as a man, as an adult, to reprogram yourself into the man that you want to be, right? The information is here. The information is all around us. It's just a matter of finding it and having an ear to listen and having that humility to accept another perspective so that you can actually better your life, right? Everyone here has an opportunity to better their life, right? Doesn't matter if you're black, white, Asian, whatever, like, you have an opportunity, right? If you can walk, talk, breathe, think, hear, smell, doesn't matter if you're rich, doesn't matter if you're poor, even if you grew up poor, there's people who grew up poor, right? Just got a text message. Even if you grew up poor, right? It doesn't matter, you can still make something out of yourself. There's people, like, people always say, oh, it's easy for them because they grew up rich, but the thing you gotta realize is that they started off somewhere, when you look at these rich families, they're rich. Somewhere along the line, someone came along and broke the generational curses of the family and then brought them to riches, right? Somewhere along the line, someone came in and said, you know what, I want to break the cycle, we're going to be rich, right? It could be you. It starts with you. Break that family cycle of poverty, right? Like, we all have an opportunity to do it. You just got to, like, lock in. You just got to lock in. And now people might say, oh, it's giving like hustle culture, it's giving like, but the truth of life, man, you gotta lock in. No one's gonna hand you anything. Nobody's gonna come to save you, right? We always want to blame like the man. We always want to blame white people for why we're not where we want to be. But it's like, you can't be blaming them, right? At the end of the day, you're responsible for your own life. No one cares about you, bro. You gotta make something of yourself. You know what I mean? Yeah, I see 3 people watching the chat. 3 people watching. Let me know in the comments what you think so far about what I'm saying, if you've been paying attention or whatnot. You know what I mean? Anytime if you have questions, leave a comment and whatnot. And yeah, we will get to your questions. But let's see, what else do I want to talk about here? But yeah, like, the victim mentality is real, man. And I think it's what's holding black people back. And I want to talk a little bit about like I want to talk about like I want to talk a little bit about this video I saw the other day with this guy, Officer Tatum. He's got a YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure he's like like a commentator, like a YouTube commentator. He's more on like the conservative side, like Candace Owens and all them guys, right? But I saw a video where he was talking to black university students, and when I saw that video, I realized that wow, like a lot of black people, especially in the United States, struggle from like a victim mentality because I honestly thought he was doing a good thing. Like he was trying to encourage. I saw it as he was trying to encourage and uplift black people to like believe in themselves again, to have a more positive self belief about themselves, right? But I find that when you start talking about when you start telling black people like not to have a victim mentality, like it was crazy. He was literally trying to he was literally arguing with this university student. He was trying to tell him like, yo, he was trying to tell him that you have an opportunity to do something in your life. But this university student was like, no, I don't have an opportunity. He was really trying to argue for why he doesn't have an opportunity, right? By the way, let me know in the chat if my audio is okay, if you can hear me. You know what I mean? Let me know. I want to make sure you can actually hear what I'm saying. But like he was like trying to argue for why black people don't have an opportunity in life, and I was like, wow, like this university student is really is arguing against himself, which I thought was really insane, you know. And I saw this video and I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, the victim mentality is real, you know. Like people really see themselves as victims, right? And like I said, that book that I read a couple months ago, As a Man Thinketh, if you think you're a victim, then that's what you will be, right? So because the way you think, the way you view yourself, the thoughts that you are your thoughts. So if you believe you're a victim, if you believe you don't have an opportunity in life, if you think that's who you are, that's who you will be, right? But yeah, if you believe that you're a victim, then that's what you will be, right? I just saw another person just join. But yeah, if you believe you're a victim, that's what you will be, right? Comment down below. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Like, if you believe that's what you believe, you will be a victim if you think you're a victim, right? And that's kind of what I'm trying to go against. I'm trying to go against this victim mentality, right? Because I'm always saying in all my videos, no, there's nothing enlightening about playing small. If you were a watcher of my content, you'll notice that I say that a lot. Like, there's nothing enlightening about playing small, right? And the reason I say there's nothing enlightening about playing small is because the way what that quote means to me is from Coach Carter, where one of the players says that whole quote, like, you know, what it means to me is that I'm already losing my train of thought, guys. But what it means to me is that, you know, we all have something to offer. We all have something to offer, right? Like, the glory of God is within all of us, not just some of us, right? And if we let our own light shine, we give everybody the opportunity to do the same. That's why I'm always saying there's nothing enlightening about playing small, because you playing victim, you saying you don't have an opportunity, not doing anything with your life because you're saying the white man, whatever. You're not doing anything for the rest of the black community. You're playing small, and there's nothing enlightening about that, right? Because maybe you're supposed to be the one to inspire the rest of the community to do something with their lives, right? Maybe you are going to be the one to inspire the rest of the black community, right? Because it reminds me, and that quote reminds me of like that scene in Batman Dark Knight, where Bruce Wayne, right? If you guys seen Dark Knight Rises, let me know in the comments if you've seen Dark Knight Rises. But like where Bruce Wayne, he's climbing up the rope, he makes the climb, so that he lets the rope down for everyone to follow. That's how I kind of see it, where it's like, as black people, right? I think our job is to make something of ourselves, to grind, work hard, get ourselves to a position of power, and then you let that rope down for everybody else to climb out, right? And that's why I'm always saying there's nothing enlightening about playing small, right? The glory of God is within all of us, so that we can inspire other people, right? We can inspire other people to come up and believe in themselves, right? So you playing victim, you saying like, oh, I don't have less of an opportunity than everybody else, I can't do this, I can't do that because I'm black. You're playing small. And if you subscribe to my channel, you know that's what we stand for. And if you're not subscribed yet, and that's something you stand for, hit that subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's about here. I'm not about victimizing yourself. I'm not about playing victim and whatnot. Like, I'm about like actually doing shit. Like, let's build something. You know what I mean? Let's build something, and then let's let the rope down for everyone else to climb. You know, and another concept I want to talk to you guys about is, with that being said, I find that I did a podcast on Black History Month last year this time. And I actually got a lot of hate for it because I was saying the same things I'm saying to you right now. I'm saying, you know, I'm talking about victim mentality. I'm talking about, you know, why Black people shouldn't see ourselves as victims. We should reframe the concept into why we're victors, right? And I got a lot of hate for people, but like, you don't understand. Us Black people, we don't have an opportunity. You're delusional. You're on crack. Like, people were like just going crazy. You know what I mean? And you know, and I can see why that. I can see why when you see a lot of Black successful people, they make it, and then they kind of forget where they came from. They just say, "Oh, screw these guys." It's because of this crab in the barrel mentality, right? The crab in the, I want to touch on this crab in the barrel mentality, where, you know, once like you get out of, I'm sorry, my bad. Once you get out of the victim mentality, you're gonna notice other victims are gonna start to act like crabs. They're gonna be like, because the signals an insecurity in them. Because it's easier to play victim. It's easier to play victim and you know, not try to make your life better. So, and when you see someone actually in the pursuit of making their life better, you're gonna want to shit on them and be like, oh, you know, come back here, be a loser with us, right? It's a weird thing because human beings like to be in packs, like to be in herds, right? And when you start to see, you know, that's what I found in my own experience. Like, once I broke free from, like, I used to have a victim mentality. I used to think these exact same ideologies that I'm speaking against. I used to think I had less of an opportunity because I'm Black. I used to think I was less, until when I discovered that the richest man in the world was Black. It changed. There's a paradigm shift for me. I realized, like, okay, if the richest man in the world had the same skin color as me, then not even maybe, then I can be something in my life, right? If there's a blueprint, if there's someone who looks like me, right, who has in a similar kind of circumstance, then if I can find a blueprint, then it's possible, right? That's when I let go of the victim mentality. That's how I overcame it. And I noticed once I overcame the victim mentality, that's when I started to get hate. That's when I started to get hate from other victims, right? From other people who have a victim mentality. Because once they see you rise up, right, they're gonna try and bring you down to be a victim just like them, right? And you have to kind of resist that. And one thing I'm realizing too is you have to have compassion for victims, right? You have to have compassion for people who have a victim mentality, because they're gonna try and bring you down. They're gonna try and disprove you. They're gonna try and tell you that you're wrong and that you're delusional and that you can't do it. You know what I mean? Because it makes them feel better about themselves, right? But what you gotta do is you gotta stand strong in who you are. You know what I mean? You gotta stand strong in who you are, and you also have to have that compassion and humility to understand, like, okay, this person suffers from a victim mentality, so that's why they're acting out of rage. That's why they're barking at me. That's why they're angry with me for me saying the things that I'm saying. You have to have compassion. And once you do make it and you become someone, right? That's once you become someone in society, that's when you let the rope down. That's when you can let the rope down for the other people with a victim mentality to climb up. You have to inspire them, right? Because realize you have to be patient, right? You have to be patient when it comes to this stuff. I have to be patient, you know, with the Black community, right? They're not all gonna understand this. A lot of people are gonna have a victim mentality, you know what I mean? Because that's how they're raised, that's how they're conditioned, right? But you have to be patient that maybe one day they come around, and, you know, the more that you keep proving yourself, the more that, you know, you lead by example, more people are gonna want to, like, you know, follow in that example and be like, you know what, I don't want to be a victim anymore. I don't want to have victim mentality. I want to actually do something with my life. You know what I mean? Like, once they see you do that, they're gonna start to follow in it and follow, because you're leading by example. So that's why when people have a victim mentality and they see themselves as a victim, they see themselves not doing anything, they see themselves not going anywhere in life. You have to be patient with them, because they're suffering from a victim mentality, right? And I think a lot of the victim mentality is they just need to be able to see. I think they just need evidence. They just need evidence that they can do it. They just need to see a blueprint, like tangible evidence of someone who looks like them, who's done it, and they can finally be like, okay, you know what, maybe I can do it too. And that's why I'm always, there's nothing letting about playing small, because you have to play big, because you have to become the evidence for the rest of the community so that we can all come up, right? Because what Black people need right now is, I think they just need more evidence. They just need more evidence of, like, successful Black people, like, in their sphere, in their area, in their community, right? So we need more people to, like, rise up, grind, and just become the lights become a light that shines so that you can inspire other people to shine, right? That's what I'm always talking about. There's nothing in life but playing small. That's my literally my whole motto, right? Because you, right, shining brightly, it inspires everybody else, right? And that's pretty much the message that I was like really trying to hammer home. But yeah, let's see what else I wanted. There's also some other stuff I wanted to talk about in this stream as well. Um, yeah, got a couple people in the stream, but y'all are being quiet though. Everybody's so quiet. But yeah, um, yeah. For those of y'all in the stream, comment down below if you're in the stream. Let me know what's happening, man. Let me know. Let me know. Comment down one. Let me know. Chat. Type a one in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Talk to me, man. I pretty much got everything I wanted to get out of. Like I talked about everything I wanted to talk about in the stream. Like talked about Black history, talked about the victim mentality. I talked about the dangers of the victim mentality, and how to overcome it, and like just the patience, having patience for people who suffer from a victim mentality. And why it's important to overcome it. You know. And I think the Black community, like I said, we need more. Um, we just need more evidence, and that's where doing your research on Black history comes into play, right? Doing your history, that's where it comes into play. Like when you start to realize that your history is more than just slavery, you're gonna start to see yourself as more than just a victim. Because you're not a victim, you're a victor. That was another thing too. I'll tell a little story. Why not? We're here anyway. I'm gonna tell a little story time. Right? Just want to make sure no anyone commented. Hold on. I want to see if this is actually working. But yeah, I'm gonna tell a little story. So it's funny. I had a guy that I know. He said the stupidest thing. It was the dumbest thing I ever heard. He was like, let me try to remember it. It was so stupid that my brain doesn't even comprehend it. It was so stupid. He was telling me, because we were arguing about, why Black people have less of an opportunity, yada yada. And he was saying like, oh, the chain that the shackles turn to chains or something stupid like that. Like that is the most stupidest thing ever. He says the only difference between a slave nowadays. He said something it was so idiotic. I can't even. It actually pisses me off just thinking about it. Like it was so idiotic. He was like, oh, the chains stay the same, but no, he said the shackles turn to chains. Like he was trying to make this. Basically, he was trying to make a stupid analogy about how obviously slaves are in shackles and how the shackles turn into diamond chains. It sounded so stupid. Like that's the most victim shit I've ever heard. Like if you want to be a victim, just say that. Like just say that. If you want to be a victim so bad, just say that, bro. Like you're not cool. You sound dumb as fuck. I'm just straight up. Like oh my god, that pissed me off. What pisses me off so much is I hate when Black people like have a victim mentality and then they try and push it on you because you don't have a victim mentality, and then they try and push it back on you and try and make you feel like why you should be a victim like them. But like, bro, I'm not a victim. I'm not oppressed, bro. I have just as much of an opportunity as everybody else, right? Sure, there's hurdles. Sure, I might struggle. Sure, maybe the system might be against me, but I don't give a shit, bro, because I'm gonna make it happen. And that's the mentality you gotta have, because if you think about yourself like a victim, you think about yourself like you have less of an opportunity than everybody else, then you're gonna act in a way that a victim does. You're gonna act in a way like a slave does. You have to transcend, right? It's about transcending who you are. You have to become someone who's not a victim, right? You have to become someone who's a winner, right? You have to become a lion, right? Your thoughts dictate who you are. The way you think, the way you act is gonna dictate the type of man that you become, right? And that's why that story really pissed me off. That's why that when he said that to me, it really ticked me off. I'm like, bro, like if you want to be a victim, just say that, but don't try to push that shit on me because I'm not a victim. I'm not oppressed, right? I have just as much of an opportunity as everyone else, right? That's another thing too. I just can't wait. I can't wait until like I just become successful, and then I could tell all these people with the victim mentality, "I told you so." I just want to have that "I told you so" moment where I could just tell people like, "Yo, like it doesn't matter if you're white, black, Chinese, or Indian, whatever race you may be. You can do anything you want with your life." I can't wait until I can actually just, you know, straight up tell people "I told you so." Like, bro, because the victim mentality, that's what's destroying the black community. I truly believe that. I truly believe that the enemy is within, right? You can try and blame white people all you want, right? You can try and blame the system, you can say people are against you, but at the end of the day, like, you are your own worst enemy, right? You know what? Let me even play devil's advocate here, right? I'll play even devil's advocate for a little bit here. Let's say, sure, the system is against you. Let's say the system is against you, right? You are a victim. Everyone's against you. You have less of an opportunity. Okay, now what? Now what? Do you want a cookie? Do you want a cookie or something? Like, it doesn't serve you, right? Now what? Are you just gonna like keep being a victim? Like, is that how you want your life to be? You want to think of yourself as less of an opportunity than everyone else. You're not gonna even try to. You're not even gonna try and run the race. You're just gonna opt out just because you're at a disadvantage, because it's hard, because white privilege, and I have less of an opportunity. That bullshit, bro. We gotta stop this. We gotta stop thinking of ourselves as less. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm Martin Luther King, bro, with a dream. I'm just like, bro, I dream that one day black people will stop like victimizing themselves. Will stop like thinking less of themselves. Like, remember who you are, bro. Remember your ancestors. You're more than just slavery, bro. You're more than just slavery. Your ancestors came from much more than just slavery. You're more than that. You're better than that, bro. You're better than that. Your history is more than just slavery. Like, you have every opportunity to do anything you want with your life, right? It's up to you. It's always been up to you, right? It's just a matter of making good choices. Making good choices, working hard, making something of yourself. You have to believe in yourself for this shit to actually work, Like that's what it's about, man. Like that's what it's really about. But yeah, let me know. Do you guys have any questions? I see there's at least 4 people in this chat. You know what I'm saying? There's at least 4 people in this chat. So drop your questions. Do you disagree with everything I said? Do you agree? I don't. Like I said, that's the thing. I don't understand black. I never really understood Black History Month. It was just always it always seemed like a pity party to me. It always seemed like a pity party. Just feel bad for me because I'm black. Like I have less of an opportunity than everybody else. Yada yada, right? But yeah, 34 minutes into this. We're gonna go for maybe about 10 more minutes. I see. Is there anything else I wanted to touch on in this stream? Yeah, I feel like that's pretty much everything I want to talk about. But yeah, pretty soon Probably gonna have another stream next week. Face game versus body game. I know you guys were really into that face game versus body game. You know, I we're gonna have a little debate on that, whether or not you think face game is the way or body game is the way. I think body game. Personally, face like I think they're both bad. I think you gotta focus on everything, right? In terms of self improvement, you gotta focus on everything, right? Not just face game, not just body game. As a whole, like I'm talking about, the whole theme about this is like playing big, not playing small, right? There's nothing enlightening about playing small, right? So you don't want other people feel insecure around you, right? That takes me into another point. Going back to like the whole Black History thing, overcoming the victim mentality as a Black person. See, overcoming the victim mentality as a Black person, right? You can't, people are gonna once you overcome the victim mentality, people will try and ridicule you. They're gonna try and bring you down to their level. They want to make you a victim again. They actually society wants you to be a victim, right? And you have to. You can't conform because it's about. There's nothing lightning about playing small so other people don't feel insecure around you, right? You know what I mean? There's nothing lightning so that all these people with a victim mentality don't feel insecure because you're putting a mirror in their face out what they could be and what they could become. There's nothing enlightening about that. You can't bend the knee because of the hate and fit back to conformity. It's up to you to change your life. It's really up to you, right? And that's why I'm always pushing and getting in great shape because when you put on muscle, if you go from skinny to jacked to make that night and day difference, it's a complete game changer, right? If you can get your fitness right, you can do that with other areas of your life, right? And that's why I'm always pushing, getting in shape, getting in the gym because I think it's so important, right? But I just seen someone else just joined. Yo, if you just joined, comment down below. Ask questions. This is a Black History Month stream. For you who just joined the Black History Month stream, I'm basically talking about the victim mentality in the Black community and why Black people shouldn't have a victim mentality. You know what I'm saying? And I was talking about how we're always so focused about slavery. We're focused about learning about slavery, but we don't focus about the history before slavery. That's kind of what we're talking about. Comment down below. Let me know who's in the chat. You know what I'm saying? I just see someone else just joined. You know what I'm saying? Say hello. You know what I'm saying? Don't be a ghost. Comment a 1 or something, or comment an emoji, whatever. Just comment something. Even if you just comment like a 1 or a 2 or a period. Just give me something, man. Give me something. You know what I'm saying? Are you gonna be shy? Actually, you're gonna be shy. It's all good. But yeah, man, the victim mentality, I think that's what's holding Black people back for sure. And it's crazy because people are so, it's being a victim, being hopeless, it's very trendy. It's cool. It's cool to be a victim. It's cool to be ooh, yeah, look how bad I have it. Everyone wants to win an award for who had the hardest life. Right? It's okay, cool. Here's your trophy. Are you happy now? Do you want a cookie? You know what I mean? Where does that get you? I don't understand this generation's obsession with wanting to be a victim. You know what I mean? I don't understand why everyone wants to be a victim. Everyone wants to feel sorry for themselves. It's trendy. It's cool nowadays. Victim mentality. If you have a victim mentality, victims are the cool kids on the block. The victim mentality is cool. That's what's trending. That's what everybody likes, and on this side of this channel, we don't stand for victim mentality. We're not victims. We're winners. We get shit done, right? We're here to self-improve. We don't complain. We don't bitch. This is what we do here, man. And if that excites you, if you like that message, hit that subscribe button, man. Because on this side, we don't victimize ourselves. We just try and win. We do everything we can to win because that is the only option. There is no other option. But to win, you gotta fight. Life is not gonna be easy, man. Nobody's coming to save you. Everyone thinks I want reparations. You know what I'm saying? I want reparations. What is say they give you money, right? What are you gonna do with that money anyway, bro? You're probably if you don't have the mentality to sustain money and manage money, you're probably gonna lose it. If you look at people who play the lottery, they lose the money real fast. They don't have that financial literacy. You know what I'm saying? And what makes you think reparations is going to do anything? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a handout. Everybody wants a handout. Everyone wants to be given something, you know? And it just comes down to, you know, you have to understand that no one's coming to save you. Once you realize that no one is coming to save you, that's when the true freedom is. That's where your true power lies. When you understand that no one is going to come save you, you know? And I think black people really need to realize that, especially black people in the States. I see there's a lot of victim culture there. You know, everybody's looking to have a pity party, right? But hopefully going forward, Black History Month is not a pity party anymore. Hopefully people start, you know, doing more research. You know, Home Team History is a YouTube channel. They, like, those guys have really, if you're looking for more information on history, like, those guys are, like, goated. Like, they have a lot of great resources for Black history, you know, history before slavery and all that type of stuff, you know. Even watch the documentary Hidden Colors. That documentary was goated. I think Dr. Umar was in that documentary. Speaking of Dr. Umar, I know he's on this No Snow Bunnies thing, but you know, I'm kind of changing my opinion on that a little bit. You know, go where you celebrated, man. Like, it doesn't matter who you date or whatnot, right? If you're like, if you date a white person, cool. If you date a black person, cool. If you date an Asian, cool. It's not that deep. You know what I'm saying? But damn, I just lost here when I talked about snow bunnies. That's crazy. But yeah. You know, Dr. Umar is cool. I think he's kind of extreme, Dr. Umar, a little bit. I think his methodologies are a little extreme, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I think that's all the time we have for today. I got to get some other stuff done, but that's honestly the main messages that I want to talk about today. About doing your research on not just about the slavery aspect of Black history, but doing your research on history before slavery, and you know, understanding that your history is not just slavery and you're more than that, and just overall why rejecting the victim mentality and believing in who you are as a man, you know, because who you are as a man, you know, you are what you think you are, and it's about overcoming the victim mentality. And once you overcome the victim mentality, it's about having the compassion to, you know, be patient with those who have a victim mentality. Be patient with those who might attack you for having this like realization, for transcending the victim mentality, right? Be patient with them, and when you do make something of yourself, and when you do build something for yourself, being able to extend that hand back, even though they hated on you, right? Even though they hated on you for overcoming the victim mentality, you gotta forgive. You gotta be able to have that patience, compassion, humility, you know, because it's bigger than just you, right? Like look at Jesus Christ, you know. And they hated on him, right? People hated him, but he still came back and died for their sins, right? It's the same kind of concept, right? Like, you know, you overcome the victim mentality, you create some kind of success for yourself, and then, you know, instead of saying screw you guys because you guys hated on me for because what they'll try and do is they'll try and be like, oh, screw you, yada yada, you forgot where you came from, or you had a handout, yada yada yada. You kind of got to block that out, and you still got to lend out that hand. You got to lend out that hand, lend out that rope, like Bruce Wayne did in Dark Knight. You know, like Jesus died for our sins and all that stuff, right? When he came back, and you know, people hated on him. He didn't say, oh, screw you guys because you guys rejected me. No, like he let his hand, he laid down a path for those people, right? And we have to do the same thing, right? We overcome the victim mentality, we make something of ourselves, and then we give back, right? We have to it's still our duty to extend the hand, because remember, there's nothing enlightening about playing small. There's nothing enlightening about becoming a victim. There's nothing enlightening about being a victim. There's nothing enlightening about playing small so that other people, victim mentality people, feel secure around you, right? There's nothing enlightening about that, right? Even if your newfound mindset makes people uncomfortable, good, right? Because some people will get inspired off that, and you'll inspire other people to make the light shine, right? That is the whole premise of my entire channel. That's what I push. That's why I'm always saying there's nothing enlightening about playing small, right? And I will catch you guys in the next video. Next week's we're gonna have a podcast next week. Guest is gonna come on, and we're also gonna do the body game versus face game debate. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you guys in the next live or video. See ya.